Welcome, everyone. I'm Ruth Ellis. Maybe this is a instant replay, but I want to welcome Debra Keeler and Renee Marshall to this workshop series. And this one is about early childhood education, and you are in amazing hands with our two facilitators. So take it away, Debra and Renee, and I'll be in the background if you need anything.
Perfect. Thanks so much. My name is Debra Keeler, and I'm a consultant with the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, and I'm excited to be able to present to you earning a child development permit. Now is the time. And as we move through this workshop, you'll even see why now is the time. Super important. So I've been in the field of early education for well over 30 years, and it's my joy and privilege to be able to be in this field. Started as an assistant, started as a preschool teacher, then program director, and then at the higher education level, and working with multiple sites, as well as working within a district, and now working with the commission. So it's been quite the journey, and I can totally relate to where many of you are at in terms of making those determinations about which direction to go and what capacity do you want to serve in early childhood education. And I was at those crossroads many years ago and decided to move into administration from a preschool teacher. And I have not regretted that decision. And there have been great opportunities for me professionally and not going the traditional K-12 path. And as you can see, working for the commission, it's just been a joy and privilege. So I love young children, and I love supporting early childhood educators at all levels to be able to be the best that you can be. And there is such possibility, and I want to encourage you in that journey. So I'm going to let Renee introduce herself. She's here to listen in and to be a background support.
Hi, everybody. My name is Renee Marshall. I'm an administrator at the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing. I get the honor of working with Dr. Debbie Keeler, and everybody is in fantastic hands today. Dr. Keeler is basically the lead of the child development permit in the state of California. She's leading a massive project. She's going to tell you exactly where things are at, exactly where things are going. And most importantly, she's going to be making a connection with you today. So when you leave this session, you will know people from the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing. We are regular preschool, kindergarten teachers, and we are here to be of service to you. So I also just want to give a shout out. I know some of the students, just yesterday I was at Santa Ana College and I had the chance to go to Cal State University, Dominguez Hills, and I know some of those students are on right now. So I want to make sure to just give a shout out. It was so wonderful to see some people face to face. I also just want to say too, if you're in a space where you can put your camera on, it would be so wonderful to see your faces or to see your faces. And we don't stress if you're in a tank top or if you're, on the couch or whatever. If you are in a space where you can be on camera, thank you so much, Angela. Thank you so much. It just helps to humanize and personalize the whole experience. So we are so excited to talk to you today. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Debbie, and we'll be monitoring the chat. So if anybody has any questions, please put them in there. We'll make sure to alert Dr. Keeler. And then also we'll make sure to put our contact information in the chat. So if you have any questions later on, just know that we're resources here for you. And I will hand it to Dr. Keeler.
Thank you, Renee. So it's so exciting to be able to present this to you. And I just want you to know that this PowerPoint presentation will be available to you if you would like to download it and refer back to it, because I know there are a lot of specifics and detail that I'll be presenting today. And so I know it's hard to remember all of those details. So just want you to be aware of that. So we have this slide just to remind folks that if there's any video or auto taping of this session or transcription service that we'd like to know ahead of time. We also, this message serves as notification that no transcript should be relied on or recording as official documentation from the commission or disseminated. We respectfully ask that as we move forward. All right, so let's dive into the child development permits. So we say permit, it's actually one permit with various levels, and it really serves as a foundation for the ECE licensing requirements, state funded programs, as well as an option for those that work in non-subsidized programs. So the commission currently issues 6 levels of the child development permits. So we have the assistant, the associate teacher, the master teacher, we have site supervisor and program director. So each permit level has its own set of issuance requirements that build from one level to the next. So they build upon each other in terms of a ladder system, authorizing the holder to perform different levels of service within those programs. It is both a lattice and ladder. So if you decide that you would like to serve as a teacher and that's your jam, and you want to continue as a teacher, you're welcome to do that. Or if you'd like to be able to serve in other capacities with a little bit more responsibility, it is an opportunity for that too as well. So the child development permit matrix dates back from 1993, and it's not been updated since adding the school age emphasis in 2002. So some of the details surrounding the child development permits, they are valid for 5 years, and then you're able to renew those permits. All permits have a renewal requirement of professional growth hours. You'll see the associate teacher, it was the additional 15 units towards the teacher permit, but that has subsequently been changed because of AB 1930. And I just put that in there because there's some confusion around that. And so I just want you to know initially that was the case, but we have a slide about a specific assembly bill that changed that requirement. So all the levels now can be renewed with 105 professional growth hours. So the unit requirements for the child development permit, all unit requirements are semester units, degree applicable. So they are actual coursework that you'll take at an accredited institution. And that is a regionally accredited institution that the state of California recognizes. And these ECE units can count towards general education, cannot count towards general education requirements when it comes to the permit. So those general ed requirements for the teacher level are separate from the ECE requirements. And then all state funded ECE programs at the teacher level must have a child development permit or a credential as an option. There are other roles and responsibilities such as the assistant teacher, the associate teacher, the master teacher, etc. But in terms of what is required for the teacher level and admin is the child development permit. A child development holder is not authorized to teach transitional kindergarten. That requirement, that does require a credential from the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. So the early childhood education core units include child growth and development, child, family, and community, and programs and curriculum. There is another course that can be taken as an elective to complete the 12 units. These must be a minimum of 3 semester units or 4 quarter units in each core area with a grade or C or higher. The general education core units, which will come into play when we talk about the teacher level, those 4 core areas are listed on the slide there. There is a minimum total of 16 semester units, and the courses must be degree applicable. So the minimum of 3 hours a day in an ECE setting to count as a day of experience is kind of a core element of that experience section. Volunteering in ECE programs counts towards the experience requirement as well, licensed family and childcare as well, and then student teaching in TK and kindergarten is acceptable supervised field experience in an ECE setting. So this particular form, which we have the link, and that will be live when you get the PDF, This is uh, a chart that really lists out each one of the 6 levels. And we'll go over each one of these 6 levels also as well. But this is a great chart for reference. This is not produced by the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. This is produced by the Child Development Teacher Consortium. And so the links are there, school age, and then those CTC resources that we do provide on our website are linked to this particular piece. But this is like a one-pager that helps you understand a little bit better about the various levels of the commit.
Debbie, I just put the link for that matrices directly in the chat, and I also put the link to the website for CDTC that has all the different child development permit forms.
Right. All right, so we're going to go through the levels quickly. We have a lot of material to talk about, and we want to have time for answering questions. But the assistant level, this level is really a supportive role in the classroom. There are currently 2 options. One option is 6 semester units of ECE or child development within the framework of what those 4 units are. There's also option 2, accredited HERO or ROP, regional occupation program in child development related to those related child development occupations. So those are the 2 options for the assistant level of the permit. The associate teacher, option 1, is the 12 semester units of early childhood or child development, including 3 core areas of curriculum, child, family, and community, and child growth and development. So you'll see those abbreviated in there. And then 50 days of experience in the last 2 years. And then the option 2 is the National Child Development Associates credential. So that would suffice as an option for the associate teacher. And I want to mention that the current associate teacher CSPP and subsidized programs do allow the associate teacher to be to serve as a role of a lead teacher currently within the classroom. So that is an option. Not all programs do that, but there is an option for that, and they do allow for that. So the teacher level of the permit, this is where, again, we have 2 options here. We have 24 semester units of early childhood or child development that are including the 3 core areas as mentioned before. And those 24 units relate very well to the curriculum alignment project, or the CAP. Those are the 8 courses that most community colleges, not all, most offer, that are transferable to 4-year institutions. The 16 semester units in general education are including those coursework that we listed out before: English, social science, math, science, and humanities. 175 days of experience in the last 4 years. And then the option 2 is an associate's degree or higher in early childhood or child development, and then 3 semester units of supervised field experience. So for master teacher, option 1 are 24 semester units of ECE or child development, including those 3 core areas. 16 semester units in general education in those areas that are listed. 6 or more semester units in 1 area of specialization with a master teacher. 2 more semester units in adults, 2 or more semester units in adult supervision, and 350 days of experience in the last 4 years. So option 2 for the master teacher is your bachelor's degree or higher degree, 12 semester units in early childhood or child development, and 3 semester units supervised field experience. So those are the 3 levels, and then we move on to more of a supervisory level. So options 1 and 2 for site supervisor, and this is supervising 1 site. associate or higher degree or 60 semester units, 24 semester units of early childhood or child development, including the 3 core areas, 6 or more semester units in administration and supervision, 2 more semester units in adult supervision, and 350 days of experience, including at least 100 days of supervising adults in the last 4 years. Option 2 is bachelor's degree or higher, 12 semester units in ECE or child development, and 3 semester units of supervised field experience. The site supervisor also has 2 other options. Option 3 is the SC1A, with also the 12 semester units in early childhood or child development, 3 semester units in supervised field experience. And option 4 is an elementary teaching credential or secondary and home economics, and then 12 semester units in ECE or child development, and 3 semester units of supervised field experience. And if you have your credential, somebody that's done their clinical practice at the kindergarten level, that would also suffice as that. Excuse me. Moving on to program director, there are 4 options here. The first 2 include a bachelor's degree, 24 semester units of child ECE or child development, including the 3 core areas, 6 more semester units in administration and supervision of a child development program. Those are specific to ECE. 2 more semester units in adult supervision, 1 year of child development site supervisor experience. Option 2 is the SC1A. And then we have the 12 semester units in ECE or child development and 3 semester units of supervised field experience. And then option 3, elementary teaching credential or secondary and home economics, 12 semester units in ECE or child development, and generally 3 semester units supervised field experience, 6 semester units in admin or ECE or child development, and option 4 is a master's degree in ECE or child. All right, so we just went through our current permit matrix. Just wanted to pause for a minute to see if there are any questions about our current matrix, or if you guys are ready to kind of move forward and look at where are we going from here. Questions, feel free to come off mute. Feel free to.
Hi.
Andrea?
Hi, yes, my name's Andrea. So I actually do have a question. So I currently work right now as a lead 3-year-old teacher. I graduated last spring with my bachelor's degree in child development, and I'm planning on going back this fall for my master's. But I am ready to transition from the classroom to more of a supervising role. So my question would be, I do have, I believe, 2 classes in administration. Would I have to take any more classes to be able to obtain that permit, the supervisor permit?
Are you interested in supervising at a single site or multiple sites?
At a single site.
Okay, so let's go back to the site supervisor option here. So it's the bachelor's degree or higher, 12 semester units in ECE or child development, and 3 semester units in supervised field experience. So that's the requirement for site supervisor. So that feels like that would be the closest to where your experience is.
Okay, perfect. Because when talking to a school counselor, she had mentioned that I had 2 classes, the adult supervision and mentoring and admin supervision and child development program. So she was unsure if I was going to be able to apply for the supervisor one, but thank you for clarifying.
Debbie, there's one more question in the chat too. Tara Lee is asking, what is an SC1A?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
You know, I was looking it up and it was linked to the administrative credential. So I'm wondering if you have an administrative credential in K through 12.
I think it actually is the admin credential.
Yeah.
It's a little bit odd. These slides are from certification, so
They
but I'm
classify them
it is.
differently. Yeah.
So it's
We
12.
use the words, everybody, but within certification, there's like codes that are linked to the different credentials, but we always use the words within ours. Oh, thank you, Jeanette. Jeanette said, yes, it is a K through 12 administrative credential.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
We'll be sure to maybe change that on any future presentations. A little bit clearer, but I always like to go back to the slides that certification offers because they're a little bit more clear, generally speaking. All right, I think we're ready to move forward. And
Actually, there's one question. I'm
go ahead.
sorry. Hello.
Another question? Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Ms. Regina. I was having trouble with my device here, and I just checked in about 10 minutes ago. I came in when you were talking about the associate teacher. What are the two the other ones that I missed? Just so I could jot it down because I'm on the phone, just voice Zoom. I was having trouble with the computer. If you may just
Back to the associate.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm writing it. I'm writing as I'm going. So I just wanted to know which one was the first one that I missed.
Yeah.
Don't feel guilty. This is exactly why we are here. So and you know, we are so thrilled that you're here on your phone, and even with tech issues, you're still finding a way to be at this session. That's what makes great teachers. Okay. So Debbie will absolutely, she brought it back and she's going to share it with you. And we are happy to meet too, if at any time you want to meet offline. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so for an associate teacher, option 1 is 12 semester units of early childhood or child development, including the 3 core areas that would include curriculum programs for early childhood, child, family, and community, and child growth and development. And of course, there is a 4th class that you would take, and that can be typically for licensing, they always like that to be some sort of curriculum class, related curriculum class, but or
I'm currently I'm currently in child development 1, 2, 3, and 11 for the certificate. So I think that's 24 for 2 years, right? Or 1 year after 1 year. I forget.
so we don't so every institution has their different way of numbering them. So you want to look at the title of the course. Is this a early childhood curriculum programs course, child, family, and community course, or child growth and development?
Yes, it's children and family and community, and also the creative experiences.
Okay.
So it's a bundle that I'm currently enrolled in ELAC. So they told me, my counselor told me that with these, I think after the first year I was able to get a certified to be able to start in the early childhood programs.
So
and then from there,
yeah. So the certificate you get at the institution most likely would be those 4 classes. Again, you just want to confirm that you have the child growth and development.
Right.
But it's so if you're working at a private program, licensing will look at your transcripts. If you're applying for a permit in terms of this particular presentation, you'll also have to submit your transcripts for that or work through your community college and they would submit that on your behalf.
Right. Okay. So each one is different. Okay. I just wanted to clarify what
if you have an institution certificate, that doesn't always, many times you'll have what you need for the permit, but not always guaranteed. So every institution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then your 50 days of experience in the last 2 years, or if you have your CDA, your National Child Development Associate credential.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I have a question.
Yeah.
With associate teacher permit, the teacher can be in charge for the classroom and for another teacher assistant.
Right.
So the 12 units.
Right. So if you're working in a private program, licensing requires 12 units in ECE and those 3 core areas, with obviously experience too as well. just looking at the requirements, then you can be a fully qualified teacher. And for state preschool, in addition, you would have to have, your experiences the 50 days in the last 2 years, but they also will allow an individual with an associate teacher to be the lead teacher, or the teacher of record under our current permit structure. Yes, they do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Or I love all the questions. Okay. Okay, this is where
I
it
wanted
gets.
to ask too, Debbie,
Go
since
ahead.
we have some people that are on their phone, is it okay at some point if you say, I've put our email in the chat, but at some point later in the presentation, could you also speak it out so that way she'll be able to write it down, please?
So when we look at the child development permit, again, that was created in 1993. So some of you might not even be alive by then. Honestly, to put it in perspective, I remember I was just early into my career, and I was a program director. And I remember when that really kind of came up, I went to a planning meeting to kind of get our feedback in the private sector about the child development permit. So I remember that very well. So a lot has changed in our field. We've had the beginning of the universal preschool system. We've had expansion of TK. We've had just a lot of changes in our field since that time. And there was a document that came out in 2020. It was called the Master Plan for Early Learning and Care. Some of you might have heard about that, some maybe not. But it really is a master plan for the state of California. And that master plan really outlined where is it that we want to go from here in the field of early childhood development. And so the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, which is the arm of the state government under the governor's office that really regulates permits, credentials, etc., is really looking at the question, does this align with the permit moving forward, the master plan? So some work that we've done around that, really looking at goal 2 of the master plan that specifically calls out the child development permit. We also look at the transition to a competency-based system of preparation and licensure. So that might be a mouthful. Basically, it's looking at what are those competencies that we want teachers or abilities that we want them to be able to do or know or be able to demonstrate in the field when they enter into a position within the field. Also, looking at the early childhood workforce development and making sure that each level that we are providing assurances or a permit for really has those levels of competencies and preparation to meet the needs of early childhood, meet the needs of early childhood children, young children. And also to be able to meet the needs of those programs like state preschool or other subsidized programs that require a permit structure or offer as an option to be able to hold a permit in terms of that. So it's really looking at what are those overall requirements as the current permit has, but as we move forward, we want to look at some other pieces and why the changes within the field. So as a result, the commission pulled together a panel of 28 experts from the early childhood field to consolidate into a work group. And that work group met from August 2023 to July 2024. And I have had the opportunity to be able to lead that work. And so the goal of that work group was to really work on recommendations that would be presented to the commission for potential revisions to the child development matrix. So there were 8 work group meetings that were held during that time. There was opportunities for input from the field over that time to listen into those meetings as well as give input. Then recommendations were made to the commission in October of 2024. With an extensive field survey that they commission members had asked us to go back and do that was conducted in November of 2020. And so those results of the survey were presented in February of 2025. And so there's a link to that item that has the specifics of the recommendations and the results of the field survey. There's a lot of data in there, but the bottom line is there was a matrix that the commission heard, understood, was able to ask questions, and eventually during that meeting approved a new matrix, child development permit matrix for the field. And they approved that. So when I say approved, there's a caveat to that. Doesn't mean that it's in place right now. It's going to take some time for us to be able to present to the commission other areas that are related to that permit and for it to be in state regulation. And so we're looking at that being a 2 to 3 year process. So don't worry, there's some time to get your permit, to jump into those waters before some of these changes would be in effect. But we wanted to make you aware of some of the changes, not to overwhelm you, but so that you understand a little bit about where we are and where we're going in the future. So the recommendations that were approved would reduce the number of permit levels from current 6 levels to the proposed 5 levels. So the change in titles were changed from a descriptive title like assistant teacher, associate teacher, etc., to levels ECE1, ECE2, ECE3, which are all the assisting teacher and then kind of master teacher levels, and the ECA, which is early childhood administrator 1 and early childhood administrator 2. And this is modeled after the NEYC levels of ECE practitioners. So it also updated the scope of authorizations for all permit levels, which we'll do a little bit of a light overview of that so you'll get a feel for what that looks like. And then it eliminated the current assistant teacher level, but it also creates a provisional certification entry point for those that have 6 units of early childhood that they can enter into a supportive role, which we'll talk about. Also increased requirements for most levels of the permit, including entry pathways that reflect current child development permit requirements. So there's a few entry level pathways to both the ECE1 and ECE2. And that is our last bullet for permit holders to support dual enrollment, apprenticeship efforts, while also providing an option for those who may need additional time to meet the proposed permit requirements. So we took into consideration the work group did, as well as the commission, that there are folks that want to enter into this field. So how do we create a clear pathway for them to be able to get in, get a job, and get working, and then either stay at that level or move forward for that. So some of the general highlighted changes to the matrix. So the ECE1 is the base level. This is a supportive role. This is not a teacher of record. This is a supportive, somebody who enters with 6 units under a provisional certification for 2 years, meaning they have 2 years to complete the additional 6 units to have a renewal with the full 12 units. And if you enter with the full 12 units, great. Then you can just renew every 5 years with your 105 professional growth hours. The alternative qualification is the Child Development Associate's credential. And then, of course, those 105 hours in that. So that's the ECE base level. The ECE1 also can supervise children alone. They can support the teacher in the classroom. If the teacher has to step out for breaks, whatever that may be, ECE1 can be with children alone, but they are not the teacher of record. And they're not that lead teacher in the classroom. It's different than the current permit that allows that, but this permit structure does not allow for that.
Debbie,
And
there's a
then,
question in the chat. Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You've got a question in the chat. It says, Christy's asking, does the public school system, public school districts recognize these child development permits? My understanding is these permits might work better in private schools or daycare sites. To get into the public school system, we need to get teaching credentials. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you so much. I also heard of a new credential called PK3 credential and would love to hear more about that. Christy, that is a perfect plug. We actually have a session tomorrow on the PK3 credential where we're going to get all into it. And if by chance you can't make that session, Teach for LA will post it on their website. So you'll be able to get the content afterwards. And our team would be happy to talk to you about that. Debbie, do you want to address permits in the public school system when you're able to? Thank you.
So the public school system has, not every public school has these types of programs. There are multiple programs, but many public school systems have what's called state preschool. Or they might even offer a fee for service where parents pay tuition for that. So, or might offer both. The district that I oversaw, the ECE programs had both of those programs. But for the CSPP or which is the child care, preschool program that the state sponsors. It is subsidized for families, either lower income, dual language learners, or those with special needs. Those programs do require a permit for teacher level or admin level. And they also encourage a permit level for the assistant level that are assisting in the classroom with that. So they do require a permit. So they are in public programs. There are a few exceptions that CSP programs are not like within the school district, but many of them are offered. Within that also, other subsidized programs can be offered through the public school system. And then they have what's called TK through 12th grade. And those TK transitional kindergarten programs or above that are serving 4-year-olds. Sometimes CSPP can also serve 4-year-olds. So there's a little bit of an overlap with that. But anything TK or above does require a credential. So the permit absolutely is a part of the public system, but it would be for state preschool or another subsidized program. So hopefully that answers your question. And then the PK3 credential would be for anyone teaching TK or above.
Debbie, there's one more question that just came in from Jeanette. She's wondering, do we know when the new permits/changes will officially be in effect?
So we are saying 2 to 3 years. So again, I think I shared that there are other areas that we'll have a slide on that we have some continued work to do in relationship to the child development permit. And we also have to be able to apply to the state to put that into regulation. That could be a year process. So nothing is official until that has gone through that complete cycle. So we're looking at 2 to 3 years. So I appreciate that question. Right. So we're going to go on to the ECE2, which is the TOR, the teacher of record. That's what we mean by that. So the minimum requirement for a teacher of record moving forward with this new matrix is an associate's degree in ECE or related field. And that matches what Head Start is requiring, and many states across the United States requires associate's degree. In many cases, it's a bachelor's degree. There is a provisional certification for those who currently have 24 units in ECE that are at the teacher level, and then maybe haven't applied to get a permit. So there is provisional. There is 2-year with a second renewal option to earn an associate's degree. So those that with those 24 units can get the ECE, be a teacher of record, but be able to meet that requirement within that 2-year and then a second renewal process. So 4-year period of time. And then the other requirement is the supervised clinical practice requirement. So if you have those 24 units, I believe you'll have to enter with the clinical practice, the 2 units in adult supervision, and then within that time, your 105 hours of professional growth and development. I do want to state that these are bullets, but in that other slide that I showed you, in terms of the agenda item, has more specifics, but I just wanted to highlight some areas that as we're looking forward, so you can kind of get a general idea, but the actual specifics are within that agenda item. And it's in an appendix, so it's easy to kind of go through and read through what that might look like. So the general highlighted changes for the ECE3, which is really a coordinator of curriculum and staff development. They also can be a teacher of record in a classroom, and many times they are, and then they're utilized for that other role within, at the site level, mostly within the district level. They would have a bachelor's degree in ECE or related field, or above. All of these are associate's degree, bachelor's degree, or above. So if you have your master's, certainly you can apply for this too. Supervised clinical practice required, and that's at 100 hours. And so we're once this is instituted, then institutions will be looking at their supervised clinical practice. Coursework, 2 units in adult supervision. The alternative qualification is a bachelor's degree in another field with 24 units in ECE, or a master's degree holder, multiple subjects, holder and 24 units in ECE. And again, for the renewal, under 5 hours of professional growth. And the ECA one, which is the early childhood administrator one, this is a supervisor at a single site, associate's degree in ECE or related field. Alternate qualification is an associate's degree with 24 units in ECE. And the supervised clinical field, clinical practice requirement, 2 units in adult supervision, 6 units in ECE administration, and 105 hours of professional development. So you might look at that and go, have a question. Oh my goodness, why would a coordinator of curriculum staff development be teacher of record, have their bachelor's degree, and a supervised ECA one supervising at a single site? So the work group really wrestled with this, but in reality, because there is a licensing requirement that there be somebody who is a program or a director at each level, at each site. Some of these sites only have 1 state preschool classroom. And so they're a director, but they are the person responsible for licensing requirements or Title V state preschool requirements at that site. And many of them are teaching directors as well. And so really understanding the role of what exists within the field and giving them an opportunity to be in a supervisory role when it comes to licensing requirements or Title V requirements, but they wouldn't necessarily oversee like the coordinator of curriculum or staff development that ECE3 would do. That would be under. So that's the thought behind the split out of the ECA one, which is supervisor at a single site. And then the early childhood administrator 2, which is a program director, they can supervise at multiple sites. So oftentimes that's the case within a district where there are multiple sites, meaning there's a CSPP classroom, 1 to 2 classrooms at the elementary campuses. And so they have to supervise all those sites and make sure that they're in compliance with a working director that's at each one of those programs. They are required to have a BA degree in ECE or related field. Alternative qualifications is a BA with 24 units in ECE, in addition to credential options. So if you have multiple subject credential or admin credential, that's an option. And then the supervised clinical practice, 2 units in adult supervision, 6 units in ECE admin, 105 hours of professional development. So that is usually this particular position, they work at a district office and again, oversee the multiple programs in the whole early childhood education space. So I just wanted to point out for ECA experience, It is 1 year full-time teaching experience with ages 0 to 8 while holding a permit, and 100 days of supervisory experience with students ages 0 to 8 within the last 4 years. So supervisory could be a teacher of record where you're supervising an assistant or associate in terms of that. And that's true for ECA 1 and ECA 2. So, question in the chat. If I have a bachelor's degree and master's degree in business, not education, would this still enable me to get site supervisor permit and program director? Yes, that would. So we can look at here. The alternative is a BA and 24 units in early childhood education curriculum. So you'd have to have those 24 units, clinical practice, adult supervision, and then 6 units in ECE admin. So those are all additional requirements along with the 24 units. So, yeah, so any major would work in relationship. Okay, so here's some, here's some additional work that we need to do here at the commission to really fully roll this piece out. So the area of specializations, we've had conversations with the commission. We just had an agenda item that was in April that looked at specializations in the school age piece, infant toddler. We're also looking at the possibility of the bilingual and special education. So we are in process with the commission. We don't know what the outcome will be, but that was the desire of the work group, was to discuss those specializations with the commission. We also want to look at.
I'm sorry, you got it. There's a question in the chat.
I'll catch that in a minute.
Great, thank you.
We also want to look at pathways for entry and prior experience. So we realize that there are other pathways, that potentially people might be able to enter in at the various levels, credit for prior learning, micro-credentialing. We also want to look at options of Montessori and apprenticeship. So we want to take a look at that and have that discussion with the commission in relationship to those. And then our teaching performance expectations really are the standards for each one of the levels. And so we want to be able to make those revisions that align with this new permit matrix structure. So that's our future work that we want to do here. So question is, will those who hold the current permits be grandfathered in for these new ones, or will they need to meet the new requirements? So I have a slide on that, so we'll get to that in just 1 minute. So once the specifics are presented and approved, the commission will begin the regulatory process. This process will take 2 to 3 years to be approved. So if you are considering getting the child development permit, we encourage you to get it under the existing permit structure, because once you hold it, you will be able to renew for the life of your career in early childhood education. It won't go away as long as you're renewing under that current permit structure. So we're just encouraging folks to do that because of it. As you see, there's some increased requirements with that. And if those increased requirements are like easy peasy, then, it's up to you, if you want to wait or to be able to get that sooner than later. So here's the answer to that question. For current permit holders, per statute, current permit holders will retain the ability to renew their permit under the existing requirements for the duration of their careers, ensuring continuity and recognition of their. Now, I do want to say there's a caveat. The second bullet is, once the revised child development permit matrix is approved and established in regulations, all individuals entering the field seeking to add a new permit or moving to a different permit level, say you are a teacher, you want to move up to EC3 or an admin position, ECA 1 or 2, after the adoption of the updated matrix, meaning it's in effect, will be required to meet the requirements in place. Hopefully that answers that answers your question. All right, we're getting to the end here. We just want to make sure that you know how to keep in touch with us and subscribe to the EC News, which keeps you in touch with what's happening within our field here at the CTC. The CD Child Development Training Consortium Stipend Program, there's a link there, as Renee put that in the chat. This is how you can contact us. And Renee, maybe you can throw that in the chat too as well. And you have. And so please feel free to reach out to us with individual questions. If it's a complicated thing about applying for the permits, etc., we probably will refer you to certification because we are we don't dig into the details of that per se. We do have 2 events that we encourage you to think about. ECE Office Cafe, that's for those that are within our field at all levels. That really, we have a topic that we talk about, and also that is a part of our ECE News. You'll see those topics. You can register and hear what's happening in the field and hear their discussion about the work they're doing in that field. And we have an opportunity to ask questions to us and our team. And then also we have EC Community Circle, which we actually have a presentation on a topic, and then question and answer. And that's a great opportunity for you to get a feel for what's happening. So I know that we need a little bit of time for a survey here, but I want to open it up to any questions that you might have in relationship to the permit that you weren't able to ask for your spot. You can put it in the chat or you.
Tia just came on camera. I'm wondering if she's got a question she'd like to share. Tia, are you able to?
Oh my God, no, I'm sorry, my baby, I'm holding my baby in my hand.
That's okay.
Oh,
Let
it's
me
all
tell you
good,
first.
all good. And babies are always welcome in our space. Just know that. Always know that.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
Who better to represent early childhood education?
Also, everybody, if you have questions at any time, we've put our email in the chat and we are happy to help at any time. And we will make sure that we share it tomorrow in the PK3 webinar as well. But you can reach out at ece@ctc.ca.gov. That email goes to Dr. Keeler, myself, and also our partner, Bronwyn Kennedy, who you'll meet tomorrow at the PK3 webinar.
Hi, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to attend the PK3 ECE session that you guys are going to have tomorrow because I'm going to be at work. Is there any way I'd be able to get like information like through email or something? Just so I'm really curious about it. Yeah, that's my question.
Presentations will be uploaded, so you'll have access to look through the presentation and feel free to contact us with any questions that you might have.
Thank you.
I also know they upload the videos. I don't like the recordings, but I don't know, Ruth, how long does it take for the Teach for LA recordings to get up on YouTube? Is it like a week or so?
Great question. I would probably say give it a good week. And then I'm hoping I'm going to take a note that we will send an email blast out, but I know that that's something that Nicole is, really on top of.
Okay, great.
What'll happen is it might go to the community college YouTube channels quick first as well. So
Okay.
yeah, I would definitely keep an eye out for the email about the videos because
Great.
I don't know what platforms we're using now and through our communications teams and stuff, but it'll be there probably in about a week.
Great. So everybody will get an email from the conference producers once those videos are uploaded.
I'm hoping. I'm going to make a note.
Okay. Oh, great.
To check on that when we will have our check-in connection, our team. I'll share that information that's you would like to see that happen. Just making a note of that. I'm going to go ahead and drop in the chat the link to our event reflection. So if you can fill that out, you actually, once you fill it out, you get automatically entered into a raffle to win something. We published our raffle winners yesterday, so it happens on a daily basis. And you can certainly submit if you go to the next session or the next session. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in now. You just need to click on that. If you're on a phone, it's https://tinyurl.com/teach for LA 2025. So it's a pretty easy link if you're trying to get on from your phone, but the link is there. And this was a great session. I don't know if there's any last comments or questions, but you are in amazing hands with this team, full of knowledge, full of support ideas. So definitely, if you can make it tomorrow, I would highly recommend that.
We're so thankful to be able to present to you, and each one of us really have been in your shoes, as I mentioned before. And we really encourage folks to get into this particular field and to dive in, and be committed people that love children and are trained and knowledgeable about how they develop. So we appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Yes, definitely job security in this arena. The road may take a little while to get there, but once you're there, you're got some pretty good job securities. It's always great to see our representatives from the commission. We need to personalize that more, so appreciate that.
Happy
If
to
there's no
be
more
here.
questions, are you okay with me closing out the meeting? Make sure you have all those connections that our presenters put in the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Just quickly confirming, as far as this meeting, for like a transcript of it or a copy, like of the video, the actual entire chat, is would be on the YouTube channel that will be waiting for, the school site.
Well, you're going to get something that's going to let you know that this meeting took place. I cannot verify that. If you need something right away, if you registered for this session, you might
Yes.
get an email that says that you got logged in. If you need to use that as proof that you attended. I think that we may have more information forthcoming about all the attendees and how we can document that, but I can't speak to that right now. So if you've signed in with an email, you're gonna get communications from us.
A confirmation. Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
You all too. Thank you.